The September 9th Apple event just wrapped up, and I gotta be honest, this one felt like kind of a roller coaster. There were moments where I felt kind of disappointed, like with the AirPods Max that basically just got USB-C, yay. And then there were moments where I was pleasantly surprised, like the iPhone 16 base models getting a lot of the same professional features and both hardware and software that are on the Pro models. As always, if you're new around here, I primarily focus on talking about the cameras for photographers and filmmakers, and so I'm not going to be really touching upon the new Apple Watch or AirPod stuff, even though they all look like pretty decent updates. Nothing crazy in my opinion. Of course, definitely the biggest updates that they were really pushing throughout all of the product lines was Apple Intelligence. And in my opinion, it's been really nice on the betas, but it's something that I haven't really gone looking for the features. They kind of just stand out at different moments, from summarized text, which can get really funny when it's summarizing like 5 new emails that you have, trying to create some cohesive sentence. So first, I'll go ahead and get my kind of biggest disappointment out of the way, and that was just the fact that a lot of these software features, both camera related, Apple Intelligence related, are features that they labeled as coming later this year. And we got that at WWDC with Apple Intelligence, where we didn't get a lot of the big stuff. Vision OS 2 on my Apple Vision Pro, like getting the new ultra-wide monitor view when connecting to a Mac, still hasn't released. And I urge everyone to proceed with caution a little bit when buying technology based on future promises. But that little hint of negativity out of the way, let's talk about all of these upgrades. But first, let's talk about the non-Pro iPhone 16, which normally I just gloss over and don't really put much focus on. But this is actually one of the first years that I really think that a lot of people would be very happy with going the base model and the non-Pro. If you want to save some cash, get the cooler colors. I think we all knew that the spatial video, the new kind of camera design layout was coming. I think this is very smart as Apple builds up the Vision Pro kind of mentality. They just want to get as many people shooting spatial videos and now also spatial photos as possible. So that way in the future, when they do come out with a cheaper Vision Pro model, there's going to be loads of content that people already have from their personal libraries that they can already watch. Also, seeing the 2000 nit peak brightness in the display was pretty cool. And for me at least, most shocking of all was the fact that it got the capture button. Or I'm sorry, the official name is the camera control button. And not only that, it seems to pretty much get all the same software features that the Pro model had. I really thought there was going to be some gap or big difference as to why they would incentivize you to go with the Pro model. But if you're looking forward to just being able to adjust focus, exposure, using third-party apps like the Keynote to have third-party developers basically have their own custom adjustments, you can get all that on the base 16 model. So if there's nothing in the Pro lineup that really is enticing you, I think a lot of people are going to be happy with the iPhone 16. In terms of hardware, we got larger displays with smaller bezels, which honestly, it looks really beautiful, but the amount of times on the 15, this is like the first phone that I feel like, especially when I change orientation, the side of my thumb triggers so many accidental touches on the display because these bezels are already so thin. So I almost feel like it's going to get worse on the 16 Pro model, but you know, it looks cool. Some of our rumor guesses turned out to be accurate. So we have better heat management, kind of a casing around the battery. To be honest, everyone always talks about overheating when filming Apple Log, and this whole past year, I don't think there was a single moment where anything overheated, and I filmed content for hours on this phone. So unless you're like my sister in San Diego right now, which I heard is like 115 degrees around Death Valley area, I don't know. I never had a problem with it, but I'll take better heat management if it makes the battery last a bit longer. We got the upgraded 48 megapixel Fusion camera, but most of the specs seem pretty similar. I was hoping for a larger sensor to give that much more depth of field and separation, but it doesn't really look like we're getting that. And of course, we saw it as all their events are now shot on the latest iPhones. There were definitely moments where it had separation, but didn't look anything substantially different than the iPhone 15 Pro. For those who don't like the Pro Max option, you will get the same 5x telephoto on now the 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max. When it comes to that camera control button, one of the biggest features that everyone was waiting for was this 2-stage press, where like a traditional DSLR or mirrorless camera, you kind of give it a half press to lock focus or exposure, and then a full press to kind of fully release the shutter. Surprisingly, this is one of the features that is coming later this year, and so hopefully it's sooner than later, but at least it's coming, I guess. This also was one of the first times that we've talked about professional audio during the filmmaking process on an iPhone. I feel like this is a topic that isn't really talked about all that much, as most of the time you're just using the iPhone's mic as maybe scratch audio, or of course if it's just a casual video, the mics have always been pretty good. But now they're adding some more intelligence and software processing features that I think will be really interesting to test. They're basically able to capture the depth of audio, so that way you can give a different sound if you want a more studio sound where the background noise is very isolated, so it's just like dialogue if two people are talking, or you can go with a cinematic mix, which is going to bring dialogue to the front layers of the audio, but you will still hear the environment, making it feel more like a movie kind of experience. And it's cool to see all of these new features being built in straight into the Camera and Photos app that you can adjust after the fact, or of course before. For my fellow Vision Pro enthusiasts, we also now get spatial audio capture, which is going to just bring a whole new level of immersive experience to the spatial content we can capture on our phones. Now we don't just get the stereoscopic video, but we can actually get proper spatial audio and just allow us to feel like we're truly there in the experience again. I feel like spatial audio is one of those things where some people think it's just like a gimmick and some people really love. There are moments that I like it and don't like it. If I'm turning my head a lot with like AirPods, it's kind of annoying, but I think when viewing content, it's going to be a really cool experience. Now, up to this point, to be honest, I was thinking the entire time, man, I don't think I'm going to be recommending that the majority of people upgrade from the 15 Pro if that's what you have. I mean, last year, getting USB-C, Apple Log, these were just such groundbreaking achievements. And I want to give a shout out to 𝗬𝗎 and Evo Film Studio and Atlas Anamorphics. Vadim just sent me a movie short film that he kind of was on the set of or helped produce. The short film, I guess, is the first film shot with the new Atlas Anamorphics while using the new depth of field adapter from 𝗬𝗎 that's still in development. It's called the Photon, and it just looks incredible. Definitely check it out in the link in the description. This like 4-minute short film looks stunning and is probably the best phone short film I've ever seen in terms of like cinematic quality, and just like you're not taken out of the experience thinking like, oh, this was shot on a phone. You just are like, I'm watching a movie. And that obviously was shot before the 16 came out, so that was a 15 Pro. And so I don't think, in terms of just pure camera quality, a huge difference between 15 and 16 Pro. Of course, I need to get the actual phone in hands to test for myself. If you were on the fence about upgrading and the feature that I'm about to mention doesn't sway you to upgrading, I think you can continue to be very happy with your 15 Pro. So right at the end, they give us the most enticing feature that I've heard, and it's the one that I was kind of hoping for, which is 4K 120. And I was a little worried because they mentioned Dolby Vision at first, and so I was like, are they really not about to allow Apple Log for this? But thankfully, as long as you're recording to an external SSD, you will be able to shoot in Apple Log with 4K 120. So to be clear, based on their wording, it doesn't seem like this is something you'll be able to do without going to an external SSD, but I've made loads of videos on the best external SSDs, kind of setups that can still be very minimal, so I don't think that's going to be an issue for most people. Also, we've all seen what 4K 24 or what 4K 60 ProRes Apple Log footage does in terms of taking up space, so clearly this is more of a spatial issue. I think we were all hoping for a 2 terabyte or more storage option, but maybe they're saving that for next year. They also mentioned that this will be a new cinematic slow motion mode, but you can also just use it in regular video mode. The nice thing too is a lot of times shooting in these modes, you have the issue of, is it going to play back in real time? Is it just going to be just full slow motion. And here it looks like in the Photos app, you will be able to adjust that after the fact, where you can watch it at quarter speed, half speed, or full speed. And it does look like audio is indeed captured as well. So anyone shooting weddings, events, or trying to get that cinematic slow motion, I think is going to be very happy. And this definitely is the feature to upgrade if it's calling to you that much. And at the end, we saw all of these features kind of come into one nice package with how they shot the new Weeknd's music video. And what I appreciate from Apple is the fact that they don't just put the cameras into the best case scenarios where it's broad daylight, you have all the light and separation. Like, they put this thing through rain machines, they put it through incredibly low light, high contrasting scenes where good dynamic range is definitely needed. And thanks to ProRes's amazing ability to have minimal noise in low light, it just looks incredible. So ending this event, I don't think this is the most profound Apple event I've ever seen, but it does seem like a nice step up from the previous year update. So anyone wanting to upgrade, I think it's going to be a good option. Or if you want to save a couple bucks and get a, I'm surely newly discounted iPhone 15 Pro, that also is going to be a great option. As always, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.